I consider myself fortunate having decided to embark down the Camelot rabbit trail, which is to be fair, present, embarking, evolving. I would imagine that decision probably comes to the affirmation and positive delight of many of you who have certainly made Camelot, among many names, a frequent mainstay in regards to your recommendations via my comment section. And as I've always said, I generally welcome any of your recommendations, especially as it applies to the European, even just, let's say more specific to Camelot, European affiliated rock and metal scenes. It's a growing supply of names presently of what I've collected that slowly but surely I am making my way through, and Camelot is the newest addition. I've been meaning to cover them for a little while. I did wait a bit. As many of you know, and I've stated this in the past, I pre-buy all the music I cover on the channel, and so Camelot's been sitting on for a little while. In terms of, well, namely The Awakening, because I bought the album outright. I'm really excited, though, to check this one out. In particular, because many of you know I covered Camelot, again, to set the basis earlier with Phantom Fury. No, not Phantom. I always get the name mixed up of the album everywhere I go when I talk about it. The Shadow Fury. Because we spotlighted free works publicly on this channel together. Maybe you took that first introduction path with me. I'd imagine many of you did not, and you're far more advanced in your years of Camelot familiarity. They're a name that has wide circulation. I've known about them for a while, just again by attribution, but I've never looked into them, save for, again, the opportunity with Phantom Fury, and now with, here I go again, the Shadow Fury, now with The Awakening. As you can see, again, I'm horrible at this, but and keeping it straight. But through the three works we spotlighted together, those being Phantom Divine, Amnesiac, and Mindfall Remedy, I had a wonderful time being introduced to a very dominant presence, one that I'm looking to entertain more deeply with the European rock regard. I'm so impressed with the scope of Camelot. I love the atmosphere to their pieces, mixed with a beautiful power rock emphasis. That's their main attribution, with, I would definitely say, a symphonic background. Easily appeals. The construction, though, of their works on those free pieces, I'm still floored by. And as promised, I said earlier on I'd be delivering on The Awakening. So there's the fulfillment. But I didn't clarify just how much time we'd be spending, and I'll say it now. Be prepared. It'll be a lot with Camelot. For the most part, the entirety of The Awakening. On a first temptation, as I said, I knew this would be promising. With certain regard, too, I can't wait to get to track 10, and many of you know why. But in particular, with that release, though, I'm looking forward to the entirety of the album. But since covering Shadow Fury, I've deepened my appreciation quite a bit. In particular, I'd say I'm much better prepared going in, with the fact that, as I stated on Amnesiac lightly, I was covering a lot of music that day in order to give myself something to listen to for the following morning, because I was going to be spending about 8 hours at a neighbor's house mowing and weeding her lawn. I needed something to listen to, and so that morning, in fact, I bought the album outright, because I covered the first songs, right? So the entirety of The Shadow Fury was accessible to me while I was working, and I listened to it probably about twice through in full, with several rewinds on particular works. It is a great collection of pieces. Real scope, too, in tone and different energies. I was surprised that, more so from the pieces we listened to, it was more of a rock default. But let me generally, as in the entirety of the album, in terms of the more aggressive side, real mix, but quite a beautiful construction. So, having listened to an album entirely, I gotta tell you as well with Camelot, I was thinking about this as well on several re-listens now, the strings involvement too. I wanted to make sure I noted this before I forgot. It's nostalgic for me. I'm part of what brought me in immediately with the rock scene. I've said many times, certain favorites of mine growing up, Red comes to mind. I get a real Red vibe when I hear the strings involvement here. I know it's not the same. Camelot does have an individual personality and part again with the power metal emphasis, whereas Red's more hard rock. And I'll tell you as a prelude, get ready for June 16th. I've been waiting to I'm ready and waiting for more Red. They got their new Rated R album coming out. I can't wait to bring them on. Hopefully there's some strings involvement there, and you'll see the connection maybe if you haven't entertained them before, and I recommend you do. I've been listening to them for probably about 13 years now, I think, since like 2009 or so. I don't know. I think it's 2009, maybe 14 years. Real connection point for me when I listen to their songs again via Camelot, is who I'm speaking of now. I just didn't expect that much of a dimension in entertainment of their work, but yet I've been thrilled. So I can't wait to deepen my understanding now with you in the near entirety of The Awakening. With exception, I think, to the first, because I have heard it, the interlude. So I've heard that piece going in. We're going to start on track number 2, The Great Divide. I've been looking to resume with Camelot Here we go. And hopefully you'll like them if you've not entertained them before. I think you will. If you're a big rock and metal guy, or maybe you're just open to good music craft, especially on the symphonic regard or power metal, I think you're going to like this group a lot. If you have not heard them before, let's start your journey down and expand mine. With The Great Divide, I'm going to go ahead and pull up the song, and that'll pull up for you in a minute as well, along with the lyrics, which I provide to you, as many of you know, in regards to the video. If you want to read along with the narrative, that will be available for you. You'll see those pop up as soon as the song commences now. Like I said, a grander scope. Yeah, I like that background. Again, I'm getting this vast picture in my mind when I hear it. Nice mixture of key. Good choice. Effective differentiation, but... Great introduction. Where will we zoom in? Oh, I'm thrilled. I like how the timing's disorienting me tracking along with it. It's... Oh, man. That's a beautiful line. Again, echoing that original transition on the key. Great choice. That background string is perfect. That sounds just a beautiful quality. And it's just so quick. I love it. I never key change. I love it. And here we go. Yep. Swinging right by again. I love this chorus. And especially the pattern on the notes and the inflection. It's a great fit for the song. Especially when we get that transitional phrase. Great drop. I love the isolation on the vocals with the whisper effect. As I said, to resume our journey of Camelot, this is such a wonderful re-entrance piece.
Sticks and stones won't have me crying. Even if I fall, I will keep trying. You will see my wings unfold somewhere far beyond the great divide. Darkness meets the light, like an everlasting storm. You will be my nevermore. 'Cause beyond the divide,
that hold. Wonderful idea, especially with, again, mixing that vocal accompaniment. That is so strong. That is, you know, at least from my opinion, again, having only humored one album, and I will dig deeper for sure on my own, to their past library, The Shadow Fury. Again, I don't want to mix it up again. based on one album, I'm tempted to say, and you'll forgive me, maybe this isn't correct, but this is like trademark Kamelot sound. On the mixed variants, the rock pull, oh, it's so attractive, just even still thinking about the construction of it, especially in the introduction, like from that point. And coming off the introduction too, which ends softly, this is quite a jump in immediately. It's a strong introductory work, especially to transition you into experiencing what I would imagine would be a great unfolding on an artistic dream. I think this is going to be. I just have the temptation based on this release. This has the harder tone the Kamelot is definitely established for. And I would imagine maybe there's going to be some variance among the works. We'll see, because again, that's what the Shadow Theory opened up on. It's just so beautiful and exquisite. The light strums on the verses, mixed with, again, the uneven timing, too, especially on a fall. At least I was trying to make it out, and it's kind of... It's a bit disorienting in a good way. I appreciate that. I don't see that in any way to be, throwing shade or it being a negative. Tommy's vocals, the inflection point, especially on that last verse, mixing the two, especially with the vocal accompaniment, I believe I'm part of some of the others here, on the backing, mixed with him layering around his presence on other places, followed by that vibration on the, I don't know what to call it, but the sustaining, at least on the one note on the end, worked really well in terms of scope. And again, the transitions and the piece made complete sense. It's such a united work of a great rock tone, and again, that symphonic precision in the background. I love it. Mixed again with those aggressive riffs. It's such a beautiful blend. And the writing. Really strong pictures. I love the illustration. As the sun sets in the glowing west, I declare my manifest. As many of you know, again, I come from I majored in English and writing. So this is one of the dominant things I notice in the music I consult, especially on the European line. It's European adjacent. It's very creative. Nuclear Records, I'm sure. No, not new. Now I mix up Nuclear Blast. Napalm Records. Man, I spend so much time in the European scene. Forgive me if I get confused on certain aspects. I, of course, try and correct where necessary, where there are errors offered, but I'm sure they're proud. They have carried on Kamelot for a while, as I understand, but man, I'm still, again, I'm in early emergence with them, right? I know. I don't compare, I'm sure, in ranking to a number of you in regards to your years of Kamelot and approach. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are generally, again, on, I'm sure, on hopefully, a mixture of perspective. I welcome the company of you, again, longtime Kamelot fans, but for those of you who might be in my position, I do hope there's some of you where you're just experiencing, right? Maybe for the first time as well. Maybe you're back where I started with the Shadow Theory, with The Great Divide. I hope you liked that piece. I'd love to hear your opinion about it down below. I think it's incredibly strong as a work. Again, never respect the music, the vocal balance, the vision, the structuring on part of the musical cues, the different genres that play and part of the metal atmosphere, mixed up against such beautiful lyrical vision beyond the great divide where the darkness meets the light. You will be my paramour. I love that line. From the ashen dust reborn. That's not a term I've heard that often, ashen dust. I love how of European music I'm picking up like on all these different terms I've never heard in America before. Let me see. Ashen, well, I don't know. Maybe it's a name of something specific and maybe that's not being pulled up in a quick search, but I don't know. Related to ash, from the ashen dust reborn. Yeah, that works. Okay, it's more specific, at least, I guess, in certainty of name. It's a beautiful introductory piece. As an album opener, besides the introduction, I think it's a wonderful segue for us to start our journey, or initiate together perhaps as well, through the Great Divide and Collection. As I said, the album incoming, a great, besides the introduction, the remainder. I don't usually make that decision, by the way. I try to cover, to be diplomatic and fair to other artists I have to consult, and to offer proper management so I can get to everybody in a timely manner, or at least close to. I usually pick a selection. I don't oftentimes do album coverage in full. I just had a feeling with Kamelot. I'm part of the initial... This is even before I entertained the Shadow Theory. And it was determined, in part... I was considering it prior to, and fully authorizing it via the Shadow Theory after I heard the entire album. That's, in part, what fully determined my decision. And I'm lucky to be taking it with you. As far as I'm concerned, I do consider myself quite honored to be approaching Camelot. And I do hope that, again, for some of you, this might be your first approach as well. Though, again, I welcome anybody who's a longtime fan. I'd love to have that connection point made with you. Again, we're in my circles, I've said it many times. My music tastes don't oftentimes appear those closest to me in real life. So I appreciate that there is some, for lack of a better term, community, some fellowship being formed. I'm part of us enjoying beautiful rock lessons together, especially from names that you've long revered and now you're sending my way. And I've loved everything I've heard thus far, including Camelot. They are no exception, and I can't wait to hear more, because The Great Divide is a beautiful album opener to The Awakening. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.